Greetings, I'm David Gramley. I will be your senior advisor for our new team. Excuse the tickle in my throat. I've been under the weather, but I would like to begin. We're going to talk about the history of student affairs. Going into the history of student affairs, I'll first touch on an article by Hevel, Towards the History of Student Affairs, a synthesis of research, 1996 to 2015. Now, there's a gentleman named Radigan, 1974. He observed that students, personnel, administrators appear to be unaware of the importance of history in the development of the profession. What he wanted to do with student affairs was a couple of things. Number one, he felt that we can learn from our professors and go about making changes that would later on affect the students as the second option. So the idea of having a type of student affairs was very well apparent in that regard, and it kind of snowballed and brought us to where we are today at the present. Going a little bit further, we talk about the amendments. We have the first, the second, and also the Fifth Amendment that we can consider as part of the training. Now, important to keep in mind when we talk about the First Amendment, which we should all know is free speech. We have to understand there's a difference between democracy in the country versus democracy on campus. For example, under the article, Second Amendment, under the article, student work or free speech on the public campus, a new twist to a constant issue. By alleging, we can acknowledge that there's a difference between a student having First Amendment rights versus an employee having First Amendment rights. In fact, free speech jurisdiction on public college campuses, which cases of legal theories apply, depends on whether the person is claiming free speech violations as an employee or a student. So this is something that we're going to keep in mind going further. Unfortunately, the way things are, students don't exactly have the rights of employees, but they do have a good amount of rights and a good voice that can be said for them. We're going to move on to the Second Amendment, which is under an article, Second Amendment challenges to student house and firearm bans, the strength of the home analogy. This is by Smith. Now this speaks about there is a good amount of challenge for the bans that are on campuses for the Second Amendment, the right to bear arms. That said, we still are keeping in mind that the Second Amendment still stands, but on college campuses there is not a right to bear arms. So while there is a good challenge that could be set forth, especially with what's been going on in today's days with the violence has been occurring, as of now we are following the model of keeping a gun ban on college campuses. Why this is something that can be challenged, and if it is challenged, it is something that's going to go across the state jurisdictions and go across campuses depending on public or private schools. So this is something that we want to keep in mind. Next, we're going to talk about the Fifth Amendment. The Fifth Amendment kind of goes into fair play. The right to not incriminate yourself is a big deal. Looking into the staff and into students who could usually get caught for some form of plagiarism or whatnot, having an option of the Fifth Amendment be very beneficial for them on the campus. So this is something going forward that we're going to discuss a little bit further in depth at Anytown University. Right now we are still meeting and coming up with different decisions about how the Fifth Amendment will apply to the students and also how it will apply to the staff in the case and in the occurrence that the staff has some sort of issue where the Fifth Amendment would come into play. So that is something that we want to keep in mind and something we want to continue to watch out for and look forward for as we go forward. Now, beyond the history of student affairs, beyond the amendment, we want to talk about the state and federal regulations and how that impacts student affairs. There's a really good article. This article is by Sunquist. It's called Positive Education Federalism, the Promise of Equality After Every Student Succeeds Act. With this, we look into information where it speaks about a lot of the power is now being handed to the state, though the federal government contains most of the actual power in a lot of ways the state will take on the majority of the power in the aspect of delegation. For example, the laws are going to be localized and on a state level, and if there is something from the federal level, for example, Title VI of the 1956 Civil Rights Act, then that's something that's going to go across every school. For example, if funding is given under Title VI and there's certain requirements that are set to receive this funding, every campus is going to have to follow the model to make sure that they get this funding, or else it will be pulled from everywhere. So it's important that we work together with our other affiliate schools and we make sure that we follow the models that are set for us federally and also on the state level. On the state level, it's going to be a little bit more personal. They might have a little bit more things for us to do as far as on just a local or personal level. Granted, we won't be attached to the number of affiliates that we would on a federal level. The local level, we still want to make sure that we follow the regulations and benefits that can come from that are funding. We want to make sure that we can get those endowed for our students. That would be something very positive and something we want to continue to strive and look forward to. So in the future, we're going to keep an eye for that and continue to do what we can for the local, the state, and the federal government. Keeping in mind what's going on with the federal and state regulations, we're also going to look into discrimination. A great article, Microaggressions and Social Class Identity in Higher Education and Student Affairs. This is by Locke, Ann, Trolley, and Tennell. This article speaks about discrimination, and a lot of discrimination could come without intent. We have the model of the white male, middle class type of discrimination, but there is a lot of discrimination that's going on. Right now, we can see that the social class norms can be obstacles for students who identify as low income. This is straight out of the article. Finally, we can explore how student affairs professionals working on college campuses can best address these issues. And some of the ways that this could be done is acknowledging microaggressions, knowing that they're born out of a deficit-based perspective. We want to keep in mind that microaggressions are diminishing. That said, if we don't attack and try to help diminish the microaggressions, they can continue to rise and become an issue where we do have discrimination going on. Right now, we're really looking into how our low-income students are being treated. We also want to look into the LBGYN community. There's different types of ways that we can acknowledge microaggressions. Class, capital, and opportunity is an important way. Norms of college campuses and universities. We want to fall out of the trap of falling strictly into norms. We want to have a good amount of differences. This is going to segue right into diversity. A great article for diversity, using data to guide diversity work and enhance student learning. This one's by Milana, Cole, and Whedon. Now, this article talks about the importance of diversity, goals to set for diversity, a framework to set for diversity. All these things are very beneficial for the student affairs department and also for the college campus itself. We talked about discrimination and microaggressions. Having more diversity is a great way to combat microaggressions and discrimination. So this is something we want to continue to keep in mind and continue to have as we go forward with our college campuses. So wrapping everything up and tying together, team, I want you to keep in mind that we have a goal here to be very impactful for our students and also a cohesive unit. We want to keep in mind the history of student affairs, why we're doing this. We're taking the ideas of the people from the past. We want to bring a good future for those of the future. We also want to keep in mind our constitutional amendments and remember that just because they're part of the Constitution doesn't mean they segue right onto the college campus. So we want to educate our students and our staff on how to be prepared for that and how to also allow for challenges to take place so that our students can feel like they have a voice as well as our staff. State and federal regulations are something we want to keep in mind, particularly if we're going to get funding or if we just have violations we want to avoid at all costs. Then we want to keep an eye out for discrimination. Microaggressions are something that can happen very easily, so we keep an eye out for those. And finally, diversity.
Lastly, expectations of any TAN University professionals working with
student affairs. I would like for you guys to follow this model.
best you can. And this would be a great path for us to be successful. Thank you. I'm your senior advisor, David Cramley. I look forward to working with you, team, and thank you for your time.